Welcome to Lullaby Stories, a gentle haven where the soft whispers of the past and the quiet beauty of history carry you into calm, peaceful moments. Sit back, relax, and let each story unfold around you like a soothing breeze. If you find comfort and peace in these tales, your like and subscribe warmly help keep this serene journey alive, inviting more gentle stories into the world.
May you sleep as peacefully as your ancestors, held by the same rhythms, blessed by the same cycles, restored by the same ancient wisdom that has sustained human life through countless generations. In the warm embrace of fire and stone, beneath the eternal dance of stars. In the embrace of fire and stone, a day in the life of an early human. A bedtime story in 5 chapters. Chapter 1. Waking in the Cave. You wake to the faint glow of embers. The last whispers of last night's fire dance softly against the cave walls, casting gentle shadows that sway and breathe with ancient rhythm. Your eyes open slowly, naturally, as the first pale light of dawn filters through the cave entrance. The stone beneath you is cool, smooth, worn by countless generations who have rested here before you. You lie still for a moment, listening. The world outside is awakening too. You hear the distant call of a thrush, its song echoing across the valley. A sound as old as time itself, as familiar as your own heartbeat. The air in the cave is cool and clean, carrying the scent of damp earth, of moss growing in hidden corners, of smoke that has lingered from fires that burn through the long night. Your breathing is slow, steady, each breath drawing in the peace of this ancient sanctuary. 50,000 years ago, caves like this one sheltered your ancestors through countless seasons. These natural formations in limestone and sandstone provided protection from wind, from rain, from the cold embrace of winter nights. The Paleolithic peoples, your distant family, knew the wisdom of choosing such places, always near water, always with good visibility of the surrounding landscape, always with multiple exits for safety. You stretch slowly, feeling your muscles awaken. Your body knows this gentle transition from sleep to waking. It is a rhythm as old as humanity itself, before clocks, before schedules, before the rushing world of later times. People woke with the sun, slept with the stars, lived in harmony with the natural cycles that governed all life. The fire pit near the center of the cave still holds warmth. A few orange coals pulse gently, like the slow heartbeat of the earth itself. Around these coals lie the carefully arranged stones, each one chosen with intention. Flat pieces of granite and basalt that hold heat well, that won't crack or explode when exposed to flame. Your ancestors discovered fire, tamed it, nurtured it, perhaps 1.7 million years ago. Though some evidence suggests controlled use of fire may reach back even further, to 2 million years in the past. Fire changed everything. It extended the day, cooked food to make it more digestible, provided warmth and protection, and created the first gathering place where stories could be shared, where community could flourish. You sit up slowly, your movements unhurried, natural. You notice how your body feels, rested, peaceful, connected to this place that has sheltered humans for millennia. The cave floor beneath you is covered with soft materials, dried grasses gathered from the meadow, animal hides carefully prepared and tanned, layers of comfort accumulated through patient work. The sleeping areas were arranged with knowledge passed down through generations, always slightly elevated to stay dry and warm, always positioned to take advantage of the cave's natural airflow, always oriented so that the morning light would gently wake the sleeper as it wakes you now. The walls around you tell stories. In caves like this, archaeologists have found the earliest human art, paintings made with ochre and charcoal, handprints pressed against stone, images of animals and abstract symbols that speak to something deep in the human soul. The need to create, to leave a mark, to say, "I was here." You run your hand along the cave wall near your sleeping place. The stone is cool and textured, worn smooth in some places by thousands of years of human touch. In cracks and crevices, tiny ferns grow, their delicate fronds catching the light, adding green softness to the gray and brown of stone. Water drips somewhere deeper in the cave, a gentle, rhythmic sound, like nature's own meditation bell. Each drop has fallen for thousands of years, creating the stalactites and stalagmites that give caves their otherworldly beauty. This slow, patient creation speaks to time itself, to the way the earth shapes itself, grain by grain, drop by drop, year by year. The entrance to your cave faces east, toward the rising sun. This was no accident. Your ancestors chose such places with careful consideration. The morning light would warm the cave, dry any moisture from the night, and provide the natural alarm that comes with dawn's arrival. The opening is large enough to provide good light and air circulation, yet not so large as to make the space impossible to warm or defend. Outside, you can hear the world coming alive. Birds are singing their dawn songs. Each species has its own time, its own rhythm. The great tits call first, followed by the robins, then the wrens with their complex, bubbling melodies. These were the same sounds your ancestors heard, the same natural symphony that has greeted human mornings for hundreds of thousands of years. A breeze stirs the air at the cave mouth, carrying new scents. The green smell of dewy grass, the earthiness of soil, the faint sweetness of wildflowers blooming in the meadow beyond. Your nose, evolved over millions of years, can distinguish dozens of different odors, each one carrying information about the world outside. You notice how your body naturally knows to breathe deeply in the morning, drawing in oxygen to fuel the day ahead. This deep breathing, this moment of stillness before activity begins, is part of the wisdom your body carries. Wisdom developed over countless generations of humans who lived close to the earth, close to natural rhythms. The temperature in the cave is perfectly comfortable, neither too warm nor too cool. Caves maintain a relatively constant temperature year-round, usually matching the annual average temperature of the region above ground. This natural climate control made caves ideal shelters, requiring less energy to stay comfortable, leaving more time and resources for other essential activities. You look toward the deeper parts of the cave, where shadows gather and mystery dwells. These limestone caverns often extend far underground, creating vast cathedral spaces, underground rivers, chambers filled with crystal formations. Your ancestors explored these depths, left footprints in clay floors that have been preserved for 40,000 years, showing that curiosity, That desire to explore and understand is fundamentally human. Near your sleeping area, you see the tools that were prepared the night before. A hand axe made from flint, its edges carefully napped to create sharp, efficient cutting surfaces. This technology, first developed by Homo erectus nearly 2 million years ago, remained virtually unchanged for over 1 million years because it worked perfectly for its intended purposes. The making of such tools required knowledge, patience, skill, and trust. The toolmaker had to understand the properties of different stones, how they fracture, how to strike them at just the right angle to create the desired shape. This knowledge was passed from parent to child, from teacher to student, creating an unbroken chain of learning that stretches across millennia. Beside the hand axe lies a collection of smaller tools, scrapers made from sharp flakes of stone, awls for piercing hide, burins for carving bone and antler. Each tool was created for specific tasks, and each represents thousands of years of refinement, of learning what works best, what lasts longest, what serves the human hand most effectively. You pick up one of the scrapers, feeling its weight, its balance. The stone is cool in your palm, perfectly shaped to fit the human grip. Your thumb naturally finds the position that provides the best control, the most efficient leverage. This is not accident, but design, the result of countless generations of toolmakers refining their craft. The wood for your fire was chosen with equal care. Dry oak for long, steady burning, birch bark for easy kindling, pine needles to create quick flames when needed. Your ancestors became experts in the properties of different woods, which ones burned clean, which ones created useful smoke for preserving meat, which ones burned hot enough for cooking, which ones lasted through the long cold of winter nights. The arrangement of stones around the fire pit follows ancient wisdom. Large, flat stones to reflect heat, smaller ones to hold cooking vessels, gaps between them to allow airflow, to feed oxygen to the flames. This knowledge of fire management was crucial for survival and was taught with the same care and attention that later peoples would give to reading and writing. You stand slowly, feeling your muscles stretch and lengthen. Your body moves with natural grace, the product of millions of years of evolution that created the perfect hunting and gathering machine. Strong legs for walking long distances, nimble fingers for detailed work, keen senses for detecting food, water, danger, opportunity. The clothing you wear, if any, is simple and practical. Animal hides softened with patient work, sewn with sinew using bone needles. Every piece serves a purpose, provides warmth without restricting movement, sheds water when needed, breathes to prevent overheating during active work. Your feet are bare, or perhaps wrapped in soft leather, allowing you to feel the ground beneath you, to sense texture, temperature, moisture. This direct connection with the earth provided crucial information to early humans about weather conditions, about the presence of water, about the movement of animals, about safe and unsafe places to walk. The floor of the cave tells its own stories. Here, compressed into layers of earth and stone, are the remains of countless fires, the bones of meals eaten tens of thousands of years ago, fragments of tools that served their purpose and were discarded, tiny beads and carved objects that speak to the human love of beauty and decoration. Archaeologists studying such sites have learned that early humans were far more sophisticated than once believed. They created jewelry. They used pigments for body painting and cave art. They played music on bone flutes, They buried their dead with ceremony and grave goods. They cared for sick and injured members of their groups. They were, in every important way, fully human. You moved toward the cave entrance, your footsteps soft on the packed earth floor. The transition from the dim interior to the growing light outside is gradual, gentle on your eyes. Outside, the world is washed in the soft colors of early morning, pale gold, gentle rose, the deep blue-green of shadows that have not yet been touched by the rising sun. The landscape before you is one your species has known for hundreds of thousands of years. Rolling hills covered with grass and scattered trees, a river valley visible in the distance, meadows where wildflowers bloom, forests that provide shelter for game animals and food plants. This is the African savanna environment, where humanity first evolved, later expanded to similar environments across the globe. Your eyes scan the horizon automatically, a behavior so deeply ingrained you barely notice it. Looking for movement, for signs of weather change, for the presence of other humans, for opportunities and challenges that the new day might bring. This constant awareness was essential for survival. But it also reflects the deep curiosity that defines our species. The sun is still below the horizon, but its approach is announced by the growing brightness in the eastern sky. The birds know this rhythm, their songs increasing in volume and complexity as the light grows stronger. The air itself seems to shimmer with anticipation, with the promise of warmth, with the energy that comes from the star that gives all life on Earth. You stretch again, raising your arms toward the sky, feeling your ribs expand, your spine lengthen. This movement is instinctive, as natural as breathing. Your body knows the wisdom of greeting the day with expansion, with openness, with readiness for whatever activities lie ahead. The breeze carries more scents now. The warming earth releases its overnight moisture, creating the fresh, clean smell that comes after dew. Mixed with this are the odors of various plants, each one recognizable to your trained senses. Some edible, some medicinal, some useful for other purposes, some to be avoided. Your ancestors developed an encyclopedic knowledge of plants, learning which ones provided food, which ones could heal illness, which ones could be used for tools and shelter, which ones were poisonous. This knowledge was accumulated over tens of thousands of years, tested and refined, passed down through oral tradition with the precision and care that later civilizations would devote to written texts. Near the cave entrance, you see evidence of this plant knowledge. Bundles of dried herbs hanging from wooden pegs driven into cracks in the rock. Some are medicinal, others are for flavoring food. Still others are for making dyes or treating animal hides. Each bundle represents successful gathering expeditions, knowledge applied, resources prepared for future need. The preparation and storage of plant materials was a sophisticated process, requiring understanding of when to harvest for maximum potency, how to dry materials without losing their beneficial properties, how to store them to prevent decay, how to combine different plants for specific purposes. This was chemistry and pharmacology, practiced without laboratories or textbooks, but with equal precision and effectiveness. You notice how your body naturally craves movement after the stillness of sleep. This is not restlessness, but readiness, the awakening of systems that were dormant through the night. Your heart rate increases slightly, your breathing deepens, your muscles warm and prepare for activity. All of this happens without conscious thought, guided by wisdom encoded in your very cells. The cave behind you will remain your home base throughout the day. But now it is time to venture out, to engage with the world beyond this sheltered space. Your ancestors were not sedentary. They moved constantly, following game, tracking seasonal food sources, exploring new territories. This mobility was key to their survival and success as a species. But first, you tend to the fire. This is always the first task of the day, ensuring that the flame that has burned through the night continues. Adding small pieces of dry wood, blowing gently to encourage the coals to catch, building the foundation of heat and light that will welcome you home at day's end. The fire responds to your care, small flames dancing up from the coals, growing stronger as they find fresh fuel. The light fills the cave with warm, flickering illumination, casting dancing shadows on the walls, creating the same magical atmosphere that has comforted humans for over 1,000,000 years. Fire was humanity's first great technology. It changed how we ate, where we could live, how long our days could be. It provided protection from predators, warmth in cold climates, light for work and social gathering after dark. It made possible the migration out of Africa, the colonization of temperate and even Arctic regions, the development of cooking, which may have contributed to the evolution of our large brains. The management of fire required constant attention. Fire could not be created easily, so it had to be maintained, carried from place to place, shared among members of the group. This created responsibility, cooperation, the need to plan ahead and care for resources. All of these behaviors contributed to the development of human society and culture. You add a few larger pieces of wood to the fire, ensuring it will burn steadily while you are away. The wood catches quickly, seasoned by months of careful drying, selected for its burning qualities, arranged to provide optimal airflow. This is applied science, accumulated knowledge put to practical use, technology in its most fundamental form. The warmth from the fire feels good on your skin, a gentle heat that penetrates and relaxes. Your body naturally turns toward this warmth, like a flower turning toward the sun, seeking the comfort and security that fire provides. This attraction to fire is deeply human, coded into our genes by millions of years of evolution, a love affair between our species and the dancing flame. With the fire secured, you prepare to leave the cave, to begin the daily journey that has sustained human life for countless generations. The transition from the security of shelter to the openness of the natural world is significant, requiring a shift in awareness, in readiness, in the kind of attention you pay to your surroundings. You pause at the cave entrance, breathing deeply, letting your senses adjust to the outdoor environment. Your eyes adapt to the brighter light. Your ears tune in to the sounds of the awakening landscape. Your nose samples the morning air, gathering information about weather, about the presence of animals, about opportunities for food gathering that the day might provide. The sun appears now above the horizon, a great golden orb rising through the morning mist. Its light transforms the landscape, painting the grass with silver where dew still clings, casting long shadows that create depth and texture, warming the air and releasing the sense of earth and growing things. This is the same sun that warmed your ancestors, that guided their migrations, that marked their seasons and years. Looking at it, you connect with an unbroken chain of human experience stretching back to the very dawn of consciousness, to the first humans who learned to use fire, to make tools, to create art, to wonder about their place in the vast cosmos. Your body feels ready now, energized by the morning light, warmed by the fire, prepared for the day's activities. The cave has given you shelter and rest, but now the world beyond calls, offering food to gather, water to drink, materials to collect, experiences to live, connections to make with the natural world that is your home. You step outside, your bare feet touching the cool, dew-moistened ground. The earth beneath your feet is alive, teeming with insects and worms, roots and fungal networks, all the hidden machinery that transforms sunlight and rain and death into new life. You are part of this system, connected to it, dependent on it, blessed by it. The morning air is crisp and clean, filled with oxygen released by the green plants that surround you. Each breath you take is a gift from the photosynthetic organisms that first transform the Earth's atmosphere, creating the conditions that make animal life possible. Your lungs, evolved over millions of years, extract this oxygen with perfect efficiency, fueling every cell in your body with the energy needed for life. Around you, the world is waking up. Insects buzz among the flowers, their activities beginning the daily work of pollination that keeps the plant world thriving. Small mammals rustle through the grass, following their own ancient routines of foraging and territory maintenance. Birds call to one another across the landscape, establishing territories, finding mates, coordinating the activities of their flocks. This is the world your ancestors knew intimately. Every sound, every movement, every change in the environment was meaningful, provided information crucial for survival. Modern humans have lost much of this awareness, but in this peaceful morning moment, you can feel it awakening in you, the deep, instinctive knowledge that connects you to the living world. You stand for a moment, simply being present, breathing deeply, letting the peace of this ancient morning settle into your bones. There is no hurry here, no clock to watch, no schedule to follow, only the natural rhythm of day and night, season and weather, the patient cycles that have governed life on Earth for billions of years. Your body knows this rhythm, remembers it in the deepest parts of your genetic memory. Before agriculture, before cities, before the complex civilizations that would follow, humans lived by this rhythm, rose with the sun, slept with the stars, followed the seasons, moved with the herds, gathered what the earth provided. This was not a primitive existence, but a sophisticated adaptation to the natural world. The skills required for this life were extraordinary. Knowledge of hundreds of plant species, understanding of animal behavior, ability to read weather patterns, skill in making tools and weapons, expertise in tracking and hunting, talent for finding and preparing food, capability to create shelter, to make fire, to heal injuries and illnesses, to navigate by stars, to survive in environments from tropical forests to Arctic tundra. This knowledge was not written in books. It was encoded in stories, songs, ceremonies, rituals. It was passed from generation to generation through careful teaching and patient practice. Children learned by watching, by helping, by gradually taking on more responsibility, by being fully integrated into the adult world of work and survival. The education of early humans was complete, practical, immediate. Every skill was learned in its real context. Every lesson had obvious survival value. Every piece of knowledge was tested daily against the requirements of life. This created people who were confident, capable, deeply connected to their environment, able to thrive in conditions that would challenge even the most sophisticated modern technology. You feel this ancient confidence stirring in you, the quiet assurance that comes from being perfectly adapted to your environment, from having the skills needed to meet whatever challenges the day might bring, from being part of a community that shares knowledge, resources, support. This is the peace that comes from being fully human in the deepest sense. The light continues to brighten, transforming the landscape minute by minute. What was gray and shadowy becomes golden and warm. The dew begins to evaporate, rising in thin wisps of vapor that catch the morning light. The air warms, stirring gentle breezes that carry the scents of grass and flowers, of earth and water, of life awakening to another day. You begin to move, slowly at first, letting your muscles warm and stretch. Your body moves with natural grace, the product of millions of years of evolution that created the perfect walking machine. Strong leg muscles for covering long distances, flexible ankles for navigating uneven terrain, balanced posture for carrying loads, efficient gait that conserves energy while maintaining speed. Walking was humanity's first great skill. Learned in the African savannas millions of years ago, it allowed our ancestors to follow migrating herds, to explore new territories, to escape drought and find water, to disperse across continents. This ability to walk long distances on two legs, to carry tools and food while moving, was crucial to human survival and success. Your feet know this ancient skill. Feel the ground beneath them. Automatically adjust to variations in surface. Maintain balance without conscious thought. This is technology encoded in flesh and bone, perfected by countless generations of walking ancestors, as sophisticated as any machine ever invented, more reliable than any vehicle ever built. The path ahead leads away from the cave, down toward the river valley, following routes worn by thousands of years of human feet. Animal paths cross and recross these human trails, creating a network of travel routes that connect resources, shelter, water, safe passage through the landscape. This infrastructure, invisible to casual observation, was as important to early humans as roads and highways are to modern civilization. You follow this path naturally, your feet finding the smooth, worn stones, the easy grades, the safe crossings. Your ancestors learned every inch of their territory, knew where to find water in dry seasons, where to shelter from storms, where the best food plants grew, where game animals could be found. This intimate knowledge of place was essential for survival, but it also created a deep spiritual connection to the land. The landscape around you tells stories. In the arrangement of rocks, you can read the history of ancient floods. In the patterns of plant growth, you can see where underground water runs. In the shapes of hills and valleys, you can trace the work of glaciers and rivers over millions of years. This is the text of the earth, written in stone and soil, readable to those who know the language. Your ancestors were expert readers of this natural text. They could predict weather by the behavior of animals, find water by the types of plants growing in an area, Determine the best hunting locations by understanding animal migration patterns. Identify edible plants by their leaves, flowers, fruits, seeds. This was science in its purest form. Observation, hypothesis, testing, knowledge accumulated and refined over generations. As you walk, you practice this ancient science, noticing, learning, connecting with the wisdom of the natural world. The morning light reveals details that were hidden in the pre-dawn darkness, tracks in the soft earth that tell of nocturnal visitors, signs of animal feeding, evidence of the countless lives being lived all around you, each following its own ancient pattern, its own survival strategy, its own relationship with the turning seasons. The peace of this morning walk settles into your rhythm. Your breathing becomes deep and regular, your heartbeat strong and steady, your mind clear and focused. This is meditation in motion, the moving prayer that connects body and spirit, human and nature, individual and cosmos. It is a practice as old as humanity itself, the daily journey that keeps us grounded, connected, whole. The path curves gently downward, following the natural contours of the land, leading toward the river that has carved this valley over countless centuries. The sound of moving water grows stronger with each step, a constant, soothing presence that has called to humans since the beginning of time, promising life, renewal, the continuation of all things. Your eyelids grow heavy with the peace of this ancient morning, the rhythm of your walking, the warmth of the sun on your back, the gentle sounds of the awakening world, all combine to create a deep sense of contentment, of belonging, of being exactly where you need to be, doing exactly what you need to do. The fire burns safely in the cave behind you, tended with ancient wisdom, providing the warm welcome that will greet your return. The path ahead leads to water, to food, to the continuation of life in its most fundamental form. The sun climbs higher, painting the world with gold and green, blessing this day as it has blessed countless days before, countless days to come. And you walk on, peacefully, naturally, following the ancient rhythm that has carried humanity through millions of years, through countless mornings, toward the river, toward life, toward the gentle embrace of another day in the long, beautiful story of being human on this earth. Your breathing slows, deepens, matching the eternal rhythm of walking feet, of beating hearts, of turning seasons. The peace of the ancient morning fills you completely, and you drift naturally, gently, into the deep, restful awareness that comes from being perfectly at home in the world, perfectly connected to the endless cycle of day and night, of sleeping and waking, of rest and movement that has sustained life since the very beginning of time. Chapter 2: Walking Toward the River. The path beneath your feet is worn smooth by countless generations. Each step connects you to the ancient rhythm of human movement across the landscape. Your ancestors walked these same routes, following the natural contours that make travel easiest, most efficient, most safe. You move with the steady, unhurried pace that can cover great distances without exhaustion. This is the gait that carried early humans out of Africa, across continents, into every habitable corner of the earth. A pace that allows for observation, for noticing, for the constant awareness that was essential for survival in the natural world. The morning air flows past you as you walk, cool and sweet, carrying the sense of grass heavy with dew, of wildflowers beginning to open to the sun, of earth and growing things. Your nose, refined by millions of years of evolution, processes these scents automatically, gathering information about the world around you. Each breath brings oxygen deep into your lungs, fueling the muscles that carry you forward. Your cardiovascular system, perfected over countless generations of walking ancestors, works with quiet efficiency, heart pumping steadily, blood carrying nutrients and energy to every cell. This is the miracle of the human body in motion. Technology more sophisticated than any machine, more reliable, more perfectly adapted to its purpose. The landscape around you tells the story of water. In the distance, you can see where the river has carved its valley through layers of ancient rock, exposing the history of the earth itself. Limestone laid down in prehistoric seas, sandstone formed from ancient beaches, shale that once was mud in primordial lagoons. All of this revealed by the patient work of moving water over millions of years. Your ancestors learned to read these geological stories, understanding that certain rock formations held water even in dry seasons, that others provided the best stone for tool making, that specific minerals could be found in particular places. This knowledge was practical, immediate, essential for survival, but it also connected early humans to the vast story of the earth itself. As you walk, you notice the changing vegetation. Higher on the hillside where you started, the plants were those that preferred drier conditions, drought-resistant grasses, hardy shrubs with small, waxy leaves, scattered trees adapted to conserve water during dry seasons. Now, as you descend toward the river, the plants change, becoming greener, more lush, speaking of the moisture that lies ahead. This gradient of plant life was like a map to your ancestors, telling them they were moving in the right direction, assuring them that water was near, guiding them even when the river itself was not yet visible. Plants were allies, teachers, guides that could be trusted to point the way to the resources necessary for life. You pass a cluster of wild olive trees, their silver-green leaves shimmering in the morning breeze. These trees are ancient, some perhaps hundreds of years old, their gnarled trunks and spreading branches creating pools of shade that have sheltered countless travelers. The olives they produce are small and bitter when raw, but your ancestors learned to process them, to remove the bitterness, to extract the oil that provided essential nutrition and had many other uses. The knowledge of food processing was crucial to early human success. Many plants that seem inedible can provide excellent nutrition when properly prepared. Acorns must be leached of their bitter tannins. Certain roots require cooking to break down toxic compounds. Some seeds need fermentation to become digestible. This knowledge, accumulated over thousands of years, greatly expanded the range of foods available to human communities. Near the olive trees, you notice the tracks of various animals in the soft earth, the delicate hoofprints of gazelles, the broader marks left by zebras, the distinctive pads of big cats. Each track tells a story, reveals the invisible web of life that surrounds you, speaks of the drama of survival that plays out every day in the natural world. Your ancestors were master trackers, able to determine not just what animals had passed, but when, in what direction they were traveling, whether they were healthy or injured, whether they were alone or part of a herd. This skill required incredible attention to detail, deep understanding of animal behavior, the ability to read sign that would be invisible to untrained eyes. The art of tracking connected early humans to the natural world in profound ways. To follow an animal's trail, you must think like that animal, understand its needs, its habits, its responses to different conditions. This created a form of empathy, a deep connection between hunter and prey that went far beyond mere exploitation. It was relationship, respect, understanding. You pause to examine one set of tracks more closely. These belong to a family of wild boar, the adult animals flanked by several younger ones. The depth of the impressions tells you they passed recently, when the ground was still soft from the night's dew. The spacing of the tracks reveals their unhurried pace, indicating they felt safe, unthreatened, simply going about their daily business of foraging. Wild boar were important to early humans, providing meat, hides for clothing and shelter, bones for tools, bristles for brushes. Even their tusks could be carved into useful implements or decorative objects. Nothing was wasted. Every part of an animal was used, honored, transformed into something useful for human survival. The hunting of such animals required skill, patience, cooperation, courage. But it also required ceremony, ritual, acknowledgement of the sacred nature of taking life to sustain life. Many early human cultures developed elaborate protocols around hunting, ways of asking permission, of giving thanks, of ensuring that the relationship between human and animal remained balanced, sustainable. You continue walking, your feet finding their rhythm again. The path curves gently, following the natural flow of the landscape, avoiding steep grades, rocky obstacles, areas prone to flooding. This route has been refined over thousands of years, shaped by the wisdom of countless feet that have found the easiest, safest, most efficient way to travel. The sun climbs higher now, its warmth beginning to penetrate the cool morning air. You can feel it on your shoulders, your arms, warming your skin, energizing your body. This is the same sun that has powered life on Earth for billions of years, the star that drives all weather, all plant growth, all the cycles of life and death and rebirth that sustain the natural world. Solar energy, captured by plants through photosynthesis, forms the base of all food chains, all ecosystems. Even the meat that early humans ate was essentially stored sunlight, energy that had been captured by plants and concentrated in animal tissue. The fire in their caves was solar energy too, sunlight that had been stored in wood through years of growth, then released as heat and light when the wood burned. Your ancestors understood their dependence on the sun. Many early cultures worshipped it as a deity, recognized its fundamental importance to all life, created calendars based on its movements, oriented their homes and sacred sites to capture its beneficial energy. This was not primitive superstition, but practical wisdom, recognition of the most basic facts of existence on this planet. As you walk, you notice how your body naturally adjusts to the warming air. Blood vessels in your skin dilate slightly, allowing heat to radiate away, keeping your core temperature stable despite the increasing warmth. Sweat glands prepare to activate if needed. Your body's sophisticated cooling system standing ready to maintain the precise internal conditions necessary for life. This temperature regulation system is one of humanity's great evolutionary advantages. It allows us to remain active during the heat of the day when many other animals must seek shade and rest, to travel long distances even in warm weather, to inhabit climates from Arctic tundra to tropical desert. This flexibility was crucial to human migration, to the colonization of diverse environments around the globe. The sound of water grows stronger now. A gentle murmuring that speaks of the river ahead. This sound has called to humans since the beginning of time, promising life, refreshment, the resources necessary for survival. Rivers were highways for early human migration, sources of food and water, centers around which communities developed, sacred places that connected earth and sky through the endless cycle of evaporation and rain. You can smell the river now too, the fresh, clean scent of moving water, mixed with the earthier odors of mud and vegetation, of fish and waterfowl, of all the life that gathers where water flows. This is one of the most welcoming scents in nature, one that triggers deep responses in the human brain, memories encoded in our genes by millions of years of dependence on water. The path begins to level out as you approach the river valley. The walking becomes easier, more relaxed. Your body settles into an even more comfortable rhythm, breathing deep and steady, muscles warm and loose, mind clear and focused. This is the state of being that early humans lived in constantly. Relaxed alertness, peaceful awareness, connection to the immediate environment. Around you, the vegetation becomes increasingly lush. Tall grasses wave in the gentle breeze, their seed heads heavy with the promise of future generations. Flowering plants add splashes of color, yellow, purple, white, red, attracting the insects that will carry their pollen, ensure their reproduction. Continue the ancient dance of life that has sustained the earth for hundreds of millions of years. Your ancestors knew these plants intimately. Which ones provided food, medicine, materials for tools and shelter? Which ones bloomed at what times of year, where the best specimens could be found? When to harvest for maximum benefit? This knowledge was their library, their science textbook, their survival manual, all rolled into one. Information that had to be memorized perfectly because lives depended on it. You recognize many of the plants yourself, that deep, instinctive knowledge still present in your human mind. Wild carrots, their lacy white flowers delicate against the green of their foliage. Plantain, the white man's footprint that follows human habitation, useful for treating wounds and skin problems. Clover, its three-leafed pattern distinctive, its flowers providing nectar for bees and food for humans when properly prepared. Each plant represents thousands of years of human observation, testing, learning, the discovery that certain leaves could ease pain, that specific roots could treat infection, that particular barks could reduce fever. These were not accidents, but the result of systematic experimentation, careful observation of results, knowledge accumulated and refined over countless generations. The morning air carries the sound of birds singing in the trees ahead. Their songs speak of territory, of mating, of the complex social lives that birds lead. Your ancestors listened to these songs, learned their meanings, understood that changes in bird behavior often signaled weather changes, the approach of predators, other important information about environmental conditions. The relationship between early humans and birds was complex and important. Birds provided meat and eggs, feathers for decoration and fletching arrows, bones for needles and ornaments. But birds were also teachers. Their migrations signaling seasonal changes, their behavior predicting weather, their calls warning of danger or indicating safety. Many early cultures developed deep spiritual connections with birds, seeing them as messengers between earth and sky, symbols of the human soul's ability to transcend earthly limitations, guides for the spirits of the dead. Birds appeared in the earliest human art, painted on cave walls, carved in bone and antler, suggesting that the relationship between humans and birds goes back to the very beginning of human consciousness. You hear the liquid notes of a blackbird, its song complex and musical, rising and falling in patterns that seem almost linguistic. Scientists have discovered that birds do indeed have language, with regional dialects, individual variations, even creativity in their songs. This suggests that the capacity for complex communication, for art, for expression beyond mere survival needs, is not unique to humans, but part of a broader pattern of intelligence in nature. The path ahead opens into a small meadow, bright with wildflowers, humming with the activity of bees and butterflies. This is one of nature's gardens, planted by no human hand, but perfectly designed for beauty and function. The flowers provide nectar for pollinators. The pollinators ensure seed production. The seeds feed birds and small mammals. The waste from these animals fertilizes the soil, creating the conditions for more plant growth. Your ancestors understood these cycles, saw themselves as part of this web of relationships, rather than separate from it. They knew that human welfare depended on the health of the whole system, that taking too much from any part would damage the whole, that gratitude and restraint were not just moral principles, but practical necessities for long-term survival. You walk through the meadow slowly, mindfully, your feet barely disturbing the delicate ecosystem beneath them. The flowers brush against your legs, leaving traces of pollen, connecting you physically to the reproductive life of the plants, making you part of the system that ensures their continuation. This is relationship at its most fundamental level: mutual dependence, shared existence, common destiny. The soil beneath the meadow is rich and dark, built up over thousands of years of plant growth and decay, earthworm activity, the cycling of nutrients from death to life to death again. This soil is alive, teeming with bacteria and fungi, insects and microscopic creatures, all working together to break down organic matter, to make nutrients available to growing plants, to maintain the fertility that sustains all terrestrial life. Early humans learned to recognize good soil, understood its importance for plant growth, knew that areas with dark, rich earth would provide the best foraging. They also learned to enhance soil fertility through controlled burning that returned nutrients to the ground, through composting organic waste, through other techniques that worked with natural processes rather than against them. The science of soil was one of humanity's great discoveries. Though it was practical knowledge rather than theoretical understanding, the recognition that certain plants improved the soil while others depleted it, that leaving areas fallow allowed them to recover, that adding organic matter increased fertility. These insights laid the groundwork for agriculture, for the settled communities that would eventually develop into civilizations. As you cross the meadow, you notice the tracks of many animals in the soft earth. This is clearly a popular route, a natural highway used by wildlife moving between the hills and the river. Deer tracks are most common, their cloven hooves leaving distinctive marks in the mud. But you also see the paw prints of smaller animals, foxes, rabbits, raccoons, all following the same logical route toward water. The concentration of animal tracks tells you that this meadow is a safe place. Animals would not use this route so regularly if predators frequented the area. This knowledge would have been crucial to your ancestors, helping them identify safe camping spots, good hunting locations, areas where they could relax their vigilance and focus on other activities. You pause to examine a particularly clear set of tracks. These belong to a red deer, a large animal judging by the size and depth of the impressions. The spacing tells you it was walking, not running, suggesting it felt safe. The tracks are sharp and clear, indicating they were made recently, when the soil was soft from morning dew. Red deer were among the most important animals for early Europeans, providing not just meat, but hides for clothing and shelter, antler for tools and weapons, sinew for sewing, bones for needles and ornaments. A single deer could supply a small group with resources for weeks, making these animals highly valued, carefully hunted, completely utilized. The hunting of red deer required skill and patience. These are intelligent, wary animals with keen senses and powerful legs that can carry them to safety with remarkable speed. Successful hunting required deep understanding of deer behavior, knowledge of their feeding patterns, their seasonal movements, their responses to weather, and other environmental conditions. But deer hunting also required cooperation, planning, coordination between multiple hunters. The development of these cooperative hunting strategies may have been crucial to the evolution of human language, communication skills, social organization, the need to plan, to coordinate, to share information about animal behavior. All of this created pressure for increasingly sophisticated forms of communication. You continue across the meadow, your pace unhurried, natural, allowing time to observe, to notice, to connect with the environment around you. This is the walking meditation that was natural to early humans, movement that was also awareness, travel that was also education, journey that was also relationship with the living world. The flowers in the meadow are at various stages of bloom, some just opening their petals to the morning sun, others fully open and radiant, still others beginning to fade as their reproductive work is completed. This cycle of growth and decline, of beauty and death, of completion and new beginning, is one of nature's most fundamental patterns, one that early humans observed and learned from, incorporated into their understanding of life and death, of the seasons of human existence. Many of these flowers would have been familiar to your ancestors as sources of food or medicine. The bright yellow dandelions, nutritious leaves in spring, bitter but edible. The purple clover, flowers that could be dried and ground into nutritious flour. The white yarrow, a powerful healing plant for wounds and infections. Each flower represents accumulated knowledge, tested applications, wisdom preserved in oral tradition. The collection and processing of medicinal plants was often the domain of specialists, individuals who devoted their lives to learning the properties of different plants, the best times to harvest them, the proper methods of preparation, the correct dosages for different conditions. These plant specialists were the first doctors, the first pharmacists, the guardians of knowledge that could mean the difference between life and death. The precision required for herbal medicine was extraordinary. Too little of a medicinal plant might have no effect. Too much could be poisonous. The timing of harvest was critical. Many plants are most potent just before flowering, others after the seeds have set, still others in autumn when nutrients are moving back into the roots. This knowledge required years of training, careful observation, meticulous attention to detail. As you walk, you practice some of this ancient awareness, noticing which plants are where, observing their condition, their stage of growth, their abundance or scarcity. This is the mindfulness that kept early humans alive, the constant gathering of information that allowed them to make good decisions, to find what they needed, to avoid what might harm them. The path begins to descend more noticeably now, following the natural drainage toward the river. The soil becomes moister, supporting different plants, plants that speak of water nearby. Cattails appear in low areas, their distinctive brown seed heads unmistakable. These plants were incredibly useful to early humans. The roots edible and nutritious. The leaves useful for weaving baskets and mats. The fluffy seeds excellent for insulation and fire starting. You can hear the river clearly now, its voice growing stronger with each step. The sound is musical, complex, speaking of water flowing over stones, around obstacles, through channels carved over countless years. This is one of the Earth's oldest songs, the melody of water finding its way to the sea, carrying with it the minerals and nutrients that enrich everything it touches. The vegetation changes again as you approach the river. Trees appear, willows with their graceful drooping branches, cottonwoods with their heart-shaped leaves, alders that help stabilize the riverbank with their roots. These trees create a corridor of shade and moisture, a microclimate that supports plants and animals that couldn't survive in the drier uplands. Riparian forests like this were crucial to early humans. They provided materials for tools and shelter, medicines, food from fruits and nuts, habitat for game animals, protection from weather, and of course, access to water. Many of the earliest human settlements were located in such areas, taking advantage of the concentrated resources that rivers provide. The trees also provide vertical habitat, niches for animals that live in the canopy, in hollow trunks, in the complex three-dimensional environment that forests create. Birds nest in the branches, squirrels store nuts in tree cavities, insects find shelter in bark crevices. This vertical complexity greatly increases the biodiversity that rivers can support. Your ancestors learned to use this vertical complexity, gathering nuts from the treetops, hunting birds in the canopy, collecting medicinal bark from different species, finding honey in hollow trunks. The ability to climb, to access resources at different levels, was another important human skill, requiring strength, balance, courage, knowledge of which trees were safe to climb, which branches would support human weight. You reach the edge of the riparian forest now, passing into the cool shade of the overhanging trees. The temperature drops noticeably. The air becomes moister, filled with the scent of growing things, of rich soil, of water and life. This is one of the most welcoming environments on Earth, a place where resources are abundant, where life flourishes in countless forms. The forest floor is soft beneath your feet, carpeted with fallen leaves, rich humus, the accumulated organic matter of many seasons. This is nature's composting system at work, breaking down dead plant material, recycling nutrients, creating the rich soil that feeds the living trees. The process is quiet, subtle, but absolutely fundamental to the functioning of the forest ecosystem. Among the leaf litter, you notice small plants that specialize in forest conditions. Ferns unfurling their delicate fronds, wild ginger with its distinctive heart-shaped leaves, trillium preparing to bloom, its three-petaled flowers a sign of the spring's advance. These understory plants have adapted to low-light conditions, to the particular soil chemistry of the forest floor, to the seasonal patterns of a woodland environment. The diversity of plant life in the forest was like a pharmacy to early humans. Different trees provided different medicines. Willow bark for pain relief, containing the precursor to aspirin. Cherry bark for coughs. Oak bark for treating diarrhea. Pine needles for scurvy, rich in vitamin C. This knowledge was precise, tested, reliable, passed down through generations of healers and herbalists. You hear new sounds in the forest. The rustle of small animals moving through the underbrush. The drumming of a woodpecker searching for insects in dead wood. The chittering of squirrels. The liquid song of a wood thrush. These sounds create the acoustic environment of the forest, a complex soundscape that early humans learned to read, to interpret, to use for navigation and awareness. Sound traveled differently in the forest than in open country, absorbed by leaves, reflected by tree trunks, creating acoustic shadows and echoes that could confuse the unwary. But experienced forest dwellers learned to use these acoustic properties, to communicate over distances without alerting game animals, to locate themselves by the sound of running water, to detect approaching danger by changes in the natural sound patterns. The path curves ahead, following the meandering course of the river. You can see glimpses of water now through the trees, bright patches that reflect the sky, promise coolness, refreshment, the life-giving resource that has drawn you down from the hills. This first sight of water after the morning's walk brings a deep sense of satisfaction, of arrival, of homecoming to one of humanity's most essential places. Rivers have been highways of human migration since our species first learned to travel. They provide water for drinking, fish for food, transportation routes that are easier than overland travel, fertile soil in their floodplains, materials like clay for pottery, reeds for basketry, stones smoothed by water for tools and construction. Rivers connect inland areas to the sea, mountains to plains, bringing together diverse resources and opportunities. The sound of the water grows louder now, more complex. You can distinguish different notes in the river's song. The higher pitch of water flowing over shallow rocks, the deeper tone of water moving through deeper channels, the splash and bubble of small rapids, the quiet murmur of pools where the current slows. This is the music that has accompanied human life since the beginning. The sound of water finding its way, always moving, always changing, always the same. Your pace slows naturally as you approach the water. There is no hurry here, no urgency, just the peaceful anticipation of reaching journey's end, of arriving at the place where the morning's walk concludes, where the next phase of the day begins. Your body recognizes this transition, breathing deepening, muscles relaxing, mind settling into the quieter awareness that comes with reaching a destination. Through the trees ahead, you see the river itself, bright water flowing over a bed of smooth stones, creating the gentle rapids that produce the musical sounds you've been hearing. The water is clear, clean, inviting, reflecting the morning sky, the overhanging trees, the drifting clouds. This is water as it was meant to be, as it existed for millions of years before human pollution, pure and life-giving. Sacred in its clarity and flow, the riverbank opens before you, a gentle slope of smooth stones and fine sand, worn by countless years of flooding and receding, polished by water and weather into a perfect natural gathering place. Here, generations of your ancestors came to drink, to fish, to gather water plants, to meet with other groups, to trade, to share stories, to celebrate the abundance that flowing water provides. You step out of the forest shade onto the sunlit riverbank, feeling the warmth of the sun on your face, the cool of the water-moistened air, the solid reality of stone beneath your feet. This is arrival, completion, the successful end of the morning's journey from cave to river, from sleep to wakefulness, from shelter to the open world where life continues its ancient dance. The river flows past you, eternal and ever-changing, carrying water that fell as rain on distant mountains, that will eventually reach the sea, that will evaporate into clouds, that will fall again as rain, continuing the cycle that makes all life possible. You are part of this cycle, your body mostly water, your life dependent on this endless circulation, this gift of the hydrosphere that connects all living things. Standing here by the flowing water, you feel the peace of arrival, of successful journey, of connection with the fundamental source of life. The morning walk is complete, but the day is just beginning. Soon you will drink from the river, perhaps bathe in its cool waters, gather the plants that grow along its banks. But for now, you simply stand and listen to the eternal song of water over stone, to the voice of the river that has called to humans since the very dawn of consciousness. The sun climbs higher, warming the air, creating gentle breezes that ripple the water's surface, scatter light in dancing patterns, carry the scent of water and growing things. This is the perfect moment, the peaceful completion of movement, the quiet satisfaction of arriving where you need to be, when you need to be there. Your eyelids grow heavy with the contentment of successful journey. The sound of flowing water creates a natural lullaby, soothing, rhythmic, eternal. The warmth of the sun relaxes your muscles. The beauty of the scene fills your heart with peace. You have walked the ancient path from shelter to water, from sleep to life, from safety to abundance, and you have arrived exactly where you belong. The river flows on, as it has for millions of years, as it will for millions more, carrying its gift of life through the landscape, connecting mountain to sea, rain to river to cloud to rain again. And you are part of this eternal cycle, this endless flow, this sacred circulation of life on Earth. Your breathing deepens, matches the rhythm of the water, becomes part of the great rhythm that sustains all things. The peace of the river flows through you, around you, becoming your own peace, your own rhythm, your own connection to the source of all life. And in this perfect moment of arrival, of completion, of belonging, you rest in the embrace of the eternal flow. Drift gently on the current of deep contentment. into the peaceful awareness that comes from being exactly where you are meant to be. Chapter 3: Gathering Fruits and Roots. The riverbank spreads before you like nature's own marketplace, abundant with the gifts that have sustained human life for hundreds of thousands of years. The morning sun illuminates a living catalog of edible plants, each one placed perfectly by the wisdom of natural selection, each one offering its unique contribution to human survival and health. You begin your gathering slowly, methodically, with the patience and attention that your ancestors developed over countless generations. There is no hurry here, no competition, no scarcity that requires rushing. The plants will wait. The morning is long. The work of gathering is itself a meditation, a practice of connection with the natural world. Your eyes scan the riverbank systematically, trained by instinct and ancient memory to recognize the subtle signs of edible abundance. The particular green of wild spinach, the distinctive leaf shape of wild onions, the telltale flowers that indicate where useful roots grow hidden in the earth. This is the visual literacy that kept early humans alive, the ability to read the landscape like a text, to find sustenance written in leaf and stem and flower. Near the water's edge, you notice a patch of watercress growing in a shallow backwater where the current moves gently. These bright green plants, with their small rounded leaves and crisp stems, have been providing nutrition to humans for over 400,000 years. Archaeological evidence shows that watercress was among the first plants systematically gathered by early Europeans, valued for its sharp, peppery taste and its high content of vitamins and minerals. You wade into the shallow water, feeling the cool river flowing around your ankles. The sensation is refreshing, grounding, connecting you physically to the source of life that flows past you. The stones beneath your feet are smooth and rounded, polished by countless years of water flow, providing secure footing as you move among the watercress beds. Gathering watercress requires knowledge and care. The plants grow best in clean, flowing water, and their quality indicates the purity of their environment. Your ancestors learned to recognize the difference between watercress growing in pristine conditions and that which might be contaminated. The bright green color, the crisp texture, the clean, peppery smell, all these indicated plants safe to eat and full of nutrition. You select the youngest, most tender stems, pinching them off cleanly with your fingernails, a technique that encourages the plant to continue growing, to produce more edible shoots throughout the growing season. This is sustainable harvesting, practiced by indigenous peoples worldwide, taking what is needed while ensuring the continued productivity of the resource. The watercress feels cool and firm in your hands, droplets of river water clinging to the leaves. You taste a small piece, savoring the sharp, clean flavor, the slight bite that indicates the presence of beneficial compounds. Your taste buds, evolved over millions of years, can detect not just flavor, but nutrition, warning you away from toxic plants, guiding you toward those that provide essential nutrients. The concentration of vitamins in watercress is remarkable. Higher levels of vitamin C than oranges, more calcium than milk, significant amounts of iron, folate, vitamin K, antioxidants. This nutritional density made wild greens crucial to early human health, providing micronutrients that might be lacking in a diet heavy on meat and starchy roots. As you gather, you notice other water-loving plants growing nearby. Wild mint sends its unmistakable fragrance into the morning air when you brush against it. The leaves are serrated, the stem square, the small purple flowers arranged in distinctive spikes. Mint has been used by humans for thousands of years, for flavor, for medicine, for its ability to aid digestion and soothe upset stomachs. You gather a handful of mint leaves, bruising them slightly between your fingers to release their essential oils. The scent is sharp, clean, invigorating. These leaves can be used fresh or dried for later use, or steeped in hot water to make a healing tea. The knowledge of how to preserve and prepare such plants was crucial to early human survival, extending the availability of important medicines and nutrients beyond their natural growing season. Near the mint, you spot the broad, heart-shaped leaves of wild dock. These plants, with their tall spikes of small green flowers, were among the most important foods for early Europeans. The leaves are edible when young, though they become too bitter and tough as they mature. The roots, dug in autumn, when they're full of stored nutrients, can be cooked and eaten, or dried and ground into flour. The timing of harvest was crucial knowledge for early humans. Dock leaves are best in early spring when they're tender and mild. Mint is most potent just before flowering. Watercress maintains its quality throughout the growing season, but is most abundant in late spring and early summer. This calendar of plant readiness required careful observation, precise memory, the ability to coordinate gathering activities with natural cycles. You move along the riverbank, your gathering bag slowly filling with the green treasures you've collected. The weight of the plants feels good in your hands, solid, nourishing, the promise of meals to come. This is abundance in its most basic form, the simple satisfaction of finding what you need, of being provided for by the natural world. Ahead, growing on a slightly raised area where the soil is well drained but still moist, you discover a patch of wild garlic. The narrow, grass-like leaves are unmistakable, as is the distinctive onion scent that rises when you brush against them. Wild garlic has been used by humans since the Stone Age, providing flavor, nutrition, and powerful medicinal compounds. The bulbs of wild garlic are small, but intensely flavored. You dig carefully with a pointed stick, extracting several bulbs without disturbing the surrounding plants. The roots come up easily in the soft, moist soil, each bulb perfect in its papery covering. Concentrated flavor and nutrition stored in this compact package. Wild garlic was particularly valuable to early humans because of its antimicrobial properties. The sulfur compounds that give it its distinctive smell and taste also help fight infections, support immune function, protect against food spoilage. In an era before refrigeration or modern medicine, plants like garlic provided crucial protection against illness and food poisoning. The knowledge of which plants provided medicine was often specialized, held by individuals who devoted their lives to learning the healing properties of different species. These plant healers, the shamans and medicine people of early cultures, memorized complex information about dosages, preparations, combinations of plants, contraindications, side effects. They were the first pharmacists, the guardians of botanical knowledge that could mean the difference between life and death. You notice how each plant seems perfectly placed, growing in the exact conditions it needs to thrive. The watercress in flowing water, the mint in moist soil at the water's edge, the dock in rich, well-drained earth, the garlic on slightly higher ground. This is not accident, but the result of millions of years of natural selection. Each plant evolving to exploit specific environmental niches. Early humans learned to read these patterns, to understand that finding one useful plant often meant others would be nearby. That areas with wild garlic might also have wild onions. That places where watercress grew would likely support other edible water plants. This knowledge allowed efficient gathering, the ability to find concentrated resources, to make the best use of time and energy. As you continue gathering, you practice the ancient art of abundance mindset, taking what you need while leaving plenty for the plants to continue growing, for other animals that depend on these foods, for the reproduction that ensures future harvests. This is the wisdom of indigenous peoples worldwide, the understanding that human welfare depends on the health of the whole ecosystem. You spot a cluster of wild strawberry plants growing in the filtered sunlight beneath a large willow tree. The three-leaflet pattern is distinctive, as are the small white flowers that promise fruit to come. Though the strawberries themselves are still weeks away from ripening, the leaves are edible and nutritious, with a mild, pleasant flavor and significant vitamin C content. Wild strawberries are much smaller than their domestic relatives, but intensely flavored, concentrated sweetness that provided early humans with valuable calories and nutrients. The season of wild strawberries was a time of celebration, of abundance, of sweetness in a diet that was often dominated by bitter greens and tough meat. The knowledge of seasonal abundance was crucial to early human survival. Understanding when different foods would be available, how long each season lasted, what could be preserved for leaner times. This created a calendar based not on astronomical observations, but on biological reality, the actual timing of food availability throughout the year. You gather a few young strawberry leaves, noting their location so you can return when the fruit ripens. This is part of the mental mapping that early humans developed. The ability to remember where different resources could be found, when they would be available, how to return to productive locations. This spatial memory was as important as any other survival skill. Moving away from the riverbank proper, you climb slightly higher ground where the soil is drier, better drained. Here you find different plants, those adapted to less moisture, but still benefiting from proximity to the river's moderated climate. The diversity increases as you move through different microhabitats, each supporting its own community of useful plants. In a sunny clearing, you discover a patch of wild plantain. These broad-leaved plants, with their distinctive parallel veins and tall spikes of tiny flowers, were so associated with human habitation that Native Americans called them white man's footprint. They seemed to appear wherever Europeans traveled, carried inadvertently on clothing and equipment. Plantain is one of nature's most useful first aid plants. The leaves can be chewed and applied to cuts and wounds, providing natural antiseptic and healing compounds. The seeds are edible and nutritious, high in beneficial oils and proteins. The entire plant has been used medicinally for thousands of years, earning it the nickname nature's bandage. You gather several plantain leaves, their ribbed texture distinctive beneath your fingers. These can be used fresh when needed, or dried for later use. The knowledge of how to preserve medicinal plants was crucial. extending their availability beyond the growing season, ensuring that healing resources were available when injuries or illnesses occurred. The preservation techniques developed by early humans were sophisticated, drying plants in the shade to preserve active compounds, storing them in dry containers to prevent mold, grinding them into powders that could be mixed with animal fat to create healing salves. These were complex processes that required detailed knowledge, careful attention, precise timing. As you gather, you notice the intricate relationships between plants and their environment, how certain species always seem to grow together, supporting each other in ways that scientists are only beginning to understand. The nitrogen-fixing plants that improve soil for their neighbors, the deep-rooted species that bring nutrients up from lower soil layers, the ground covers that protect soil from erosion. These plant communities, or guilds, provided early humans with reliable gathering locations, places where multiple useful species grew together, where returning to one spot could provide diverse resources. This efficiency was crucial when travel was on foot, when time and energy had to be carefully managed, when the work of survival required constant attention to resource optimization. In another clearing, you find wild fennel, its feathery leaves and distinctive licorice scent unmistakable. The seeds of this plant are flavorful and nutritious. The leaves can be used as seasoning. The roots are edible when properly prepared. Fennel has been cultivated by humans for over 4,000 years, but wild varieties provided food and medicine long before agriculture developed. The aromatic plants, like fennel, were particularly valuable because of their preservative properties. The essential oils that give them their distinctive scents often have antimicrobial effects, helping to prevent food spoilage, protect stored grains from insects, preserve meat and other perishables. This made them crucial for early human food security. You gather some fennel seeds, already dried by the morning sun, their concentrated flavor and nutrition packed into these tiny packages. Seeds were among the most important foods for early humans, providing concentrated calories, essential oils, proteins, nutrients that could be stored for months or even years when properly preserved. The technology of seed processing was sophisticated. Early humans developed techniques for removing hulls, grinding seeds into flour, leaching bitter or toxic compounds, fermenting seeds to improve digestibility. These processes required knowledge, tools, time, but they greatly expanded the range of foods available, especially during winter months or other periods of scarcity. Moving through different areas of the riverbank ecosystem, you practice the observational skills that were essential to early human survival, noticing which plants grow where, understanding the soil and moisture conditions that different species prefer, recognizing the signs that indicate healthy, productive plants versus those that might be stressed or contaminated. This ability to read the landscape, to understand the subtle indicators that reveal the quality and availability of resources, was perhaps the most important skill early humans could develop. It determined their ability to find food, water, medicine, materials for tools and shelter, safe places to camp, routes of travel, everything necessary for survival. You discover a small grove of hazelnut trees, their distinctive leaves and developing nuts promising future abundance. Though the nuts won't be ready to harvest for several weeks, you make note of their location, their apparent productivity, the best time to return for collection. This forward planning, this ability to think ahead to future needs, was crucial to early human success. Hazelnuts were among the most important foods for early Europeans, providing concentrated nutrition, healthy fats, proteins, minerals. They could be eaten fresh, dried for storage, ground into flour, pressed for oil. A good hazelnut harvest could mean the difference between plenty and hunger during the winter months. The knowledge of nut storage was complex and important. Nuts had to be properly dried to prevent mold, protected from insects and rodents, stored in conditions that maintained their nutritional value. Some nuts could be kept for years if properly handled, providing crucial food security in an unpredictable world. You notice how your gathering has gradually filled your carrying bag, the weight increasing steadily as you move from plant to plant, resource to resource. This is the satisfying accumulation of provision, the gradual building of security that comes from finding what you need, from being successful in the ancient work of feeding yourself from the natural world. The variety in your collection reflects the diversity of the riverbank ecosystem. Leafy greens providing vitamins and minerals, aromatic herbs offering flavor and medicine, seeds and nuts contributing proteins and healthy fats, roots and bulbs supplying carbohydrates and storage nutrients. This dietary diversity was crucial to early human health, providing the complete range of nutrients needed for optimal function. Modern nutritional science has confirmed what early humans knew intuitively, that dietary diversity is key to health, that different plants provide different essential nutrients, that variety ensures adequate intake of all the compounds needed for proper growth, reproduction, immune function, cellular repair, cognitive performance. As you move through your gathering, you maintain the sustainable practices that allowed early humans to live in the same areas for thousands of years without depleting their resources, taking only what you need, leaving the roots and growing points intact, harvesting in ways that encourage continued plant growth. This is the wisdom of people who understood their dependence on the natural world. The morning sun climbs higher, warming the air, increasing the fragrance of the plants around you. Many aromatic compounds are more volatile in warm weather, making this an ideal time for gathering plants that will be used for their scent or flavor. The timing of gathering was crucial knowledge, passed down through generations of experienced plant collectors. You pause occasionally to rest, to observe, to simply enjoy the peaceful work of gathering. There is a meditative quality to this activity, the rhythmic searching, selecting, harvesting, the quiet focus required to distinguish useful plants from their non-edible relatives. The satisfaction that comes from gradually accumulating the resources needed for life. This meditative quality of gathering work was important for early human mental health, providing quiet time for reflection, for processing experiences, for maintaining psychological balance. The work was challenging enough to require attention, but not so demanding as to prevent the mind from wandering, thinking, integrating the experiences of daily life. In a moist depression where water collects during rains, you find wild celery, its hollow stems and distinctive leaves familiar. The flavor is stronger than domestic celery, more concentrated. These stems can be eaten raw, cooked as vegetables, or dried and used as seasoning. Wild celery was particularly valued for its medicinal properties, traditionally used to treat digestive problems and joint pain. The hollow stems of wild celery are perfectly designed by nature. Strong yet light, efficient use of materials that allows the plant to grow tall without excessive weight. Early humans learned to use these natural engineering principles, creating their own hollow tools and weapons, understanding that nature often provided the best designs for solving structural problems. You add wild celery to your collection, appreciating its crisp texture, its clean, green flavor. The plant grows from a small but flavorful root system, and you take care to harvest only the above-ground portions, leaving the roots intact to ensure continued growth. This selective harvesting is one of the principles of sustainable foraging, taking the renewable parts while protecting the plant's ability to regenerate. Nearby, you notice wild carrots, their lacy white flowers distinctive, their fern-like foliage familiar. The roots are small and tough compared to domestic carrots, but flavorful and nutritious. Wild carrots require some knowledge to identify safely, as they resemble several toxic plants. This is where the expertise of experienced gatherers was crucial, the ability to make correct identifications, to avoid potentially dangerous mistakes. The development of plant identification skills required years of training, careful observation, learning from experienced teachers, making small mistakes and learning from them, gradually building the confidence and knowledge needed to safely identify useful plants. This education was literally a matter of life and death, as mistakes in plant identification could have serious consequences. You examine the wild carrots carefully, noting all the identifying characteristics, the shape of the leaves, the structure of the flower heads, the scent of the crushed foliage, the appearance of the root. This systematic observation is the foundation of botanical knowledge, the careful attention to detail that allows safe and accurate plant identification. The roots of wild carrots are best harvested in their first year, before the plant puts energy into flowering and seed production. After flowering, the roots become woody and less palatable. This knowledge of plant life cycles was crucial for optimal gathering, understanding when each plant part would be at its nutritional and flavor peak. As your gathering continues, you move through different zones of the riverbank ecosystem, each with its own characteristic plants, its own opportunities for collection. This habitat diversity was one of the reasons rivers were so important to early human settlements. They supported greater plant and animal diversity than most other environments, providing more resources in a smaller area. The edge where forest meets meadow, where different plant communities intersect, is particularly rich in useful species. These transition zones, or ecotones, often support the greatest biodiversity, providing the widest range of gathering opportunities. Early humans learned to recognize and seek out these productive areas. You find wild lettuce growing in the partial shade of a large oak tree. The leaves are more bitter than domestic lettuce, but still edible and nutritious, particularly when young and tender. Wild lettuce was particularly valued for its medicinal properties, containing compounds that have mild sedative effects, helping to promote sleep and reduce anxiety. The medicinal use of wild lettuce dates back thousands of years. It was sometimes called opium lettuce because of its pain-relieving properties, though its effects are much milder than true opium. Early peoples used it to treat insomnia, nervousness, pain, and various other conditions. The plant. Chapter 4: Returning to the Cave and Firelight. The familiar path back to your cave stretches before you, worn smooth by countless footsteps, both your own and those of your ancestors, who have walked this same route for generations. The weight of your gathering bag feels satisfying, substantial, representing the successful completion of the morning's foraging expedition, the accumulation of resources that will sustain you through the day and beyond. Your feet know this path intimately, automatically finding the most stable stones, avoiding the loose rocks that might shift underfoot, maintaining the steady rhythm that can cover distance efficiently without exhaustion. This is the walking meditation that was natural to early humans. Movement that was also mindfulness. Travel that was also awareness. Journey that was also connection to the landscape. The sun has climbed higher now, warming the air, creating gentle breezes that carry the sense of heated earth, warming plants, the complex perfume of a world awakening fully to the day. Your body moves easily in this warming air, muscles loose and relaxed, breathing deep and steady. Heart beating with the strong, regular rhythm of healthy exertion. As you walk, you review the morning's discoveries, mentally cataloging what you found, where you found it, when it will be ready for future harvesting. This is the ongoing education that was essential to early human survival. The constant accumulation of knowledge about plant locations, seasonal timing, resource availability, environmental conditions. The watercress from the river's edge, crisp and peppery, rich in vitamins. The wild onions with their concentrated flavor and medicinal properties. The mint that will aid digestion and provide healing tea. Each plant in your bag represents not just food, but knowledge, experience, connection to the botanical wisdom that sustained human life for hundreds of thousands of years. You notice how the vegetation changes as you climb back toward the higher ground where your cave is located. The lush, water-loving plants of the riverbank give way to hardier species, those adapted to drier conditions, less moisture, more variable weather. This gradient teaches lessons about plant adaptation, about the relationship between environment and survival, about the principles that govern all life on Earth. The path curves around a large boulder, worn smooth by countless seasons of wind and rain. Its surface marked with the subtle patterns that tell the story of its formation. Its journey from deep within the earth to this resting place in the landscape. Your ancestors learned to read these geological stories, to understand the forces that shaped the land, to predict where water might be found, where good stone for tools could be quarried, where caves might provide shelter. Geology was practical knowledge for early humans. Understanding different rock types helped in tool-making. Knowing how water moved through landscape helped in finding springs and caves. Recognizing mineral deposits provided materials for pigments, for tool tempering, for trade. This was earth science applied to daily survival. Observation and experience translated into useful knowledge. You pause for a moment beside the boulder, setting down your gathering bag, feeling the relief in your shoulders and back. Your body naturally seeks these brief rests, these moments of recovery that allow muscles to relax, circulation to readjust, energy to restore. This is the wisdom of the human body, evolved through millions of years to manage effort efficiently, to work steadily without exhaustion. The brief rest also allows time for observation, for awareness, for the constant scanning that kept early humans safe and informed. You listen to the sounds around you, the rustle of small animals in the undergrowth, the call of birds in the trees, the whisper of wind through grass and leaves. This acoustic landscape provided crucial information about environmental conditions, about the presence or absence of predators, about weather changes, about the activities of other humans. Sound traveled differently in various environments, absorbed by vegetation, reflected by rock faces, carried farther in still air than in windy conditions. Early humans learned to use these acoustic properties to communicate over distances, to locate themselves in familiar territory, to detect approaching danger, to coordinate group activities when visibility was limited. You shoulder your bag again, feeling the familiar weight settle comfortably, and continue up the path. Your breathing adjusts automatically to the increased grade, heart rate rising slightly to meet the increased demand, circulation adapting to deliver more oxygen to working muscles. This is the remarkable efficiency of the human cardiovascular system, refined through millions of years of evolution to support sustained physical activity. The landscape around you tells stories of the seasons. In the arrangement of stones, you can read where winter floods have moved rocks and debris. In the patterns of plant growth, you can see where snow lingered longest, where spring came earliest, where summer heat was most intense. This is the calendar written in the landscape itself, readable to those who know how to interpret the signs. Early humans were expert readers of this natural calendar, able to predict seasonal changes weeks or months in advance, to prepare for weather transitions, to anticipate the availability of different resources, to coordinate their activities with natural cycles. This knowledge was crucial for survival, for planning, for making the decisions that meant the difference between prosperity and hardship. You notice fresh deer tracks crossing the path, the hoofprints clear and sharp in a patch of soft earth. The spacing tells you the animal was walking, not running. The depth indicates a large, healthy individual. The direction shows it was moving from the forest toward the river, following the same route you've just traveled in reverse, seeking the water and forage that the riverbank provides. These tracks remind you of the invisible community of animals that shares this landscape, each following its own routines, its own seasonal patterns, its own survival strategies. Early humans were part of this community, not separate from it, understanding their place in the larger web of relationships that connected all living things. The relationship between humans and deer was complex and important. Deer provided meat, hides for clothing and shelter, antler and bone for tools, sinew for sewing. But they also served as indicators, their behavior revealing information about predators, weather, the availability of food and water, the overall health of the ecosystem. Hunting deer required deep knowledge of their habits, their seasonal movements, their responses to different conditions, where they fed, where they rested, how they moved through the landscape. This knowledge was accumulated over generations, tested constantly against direct observation, refined through success and failure, passed down as carefully as any other survival skill. But the relationship with deer was not just practical, it was also spiritual, ceremonial, based on respect and gratitude. Many early cultures developed elaborate rituals around hunting, ways of asking permission, giving thanks, ensuring that the relationship remained balanced, that taking life to sustain life was done with proper reverence and responsibility. The path ahead shows signs of recent use by other humans. Footprints in soft earth, broken twigs at shoulder height, stones disturbed by passing feet. These signs connect you to your broader community, to the other people who share this territory, who follow similar routines, who gather similar resources, who face similar challenges. Early human communities were typically small, perhaps 20 to 150 individuals. But they were connected to other groups through trade, marriage, seasonal gatherings, shared territories, information exchange. These connections created networks that spanned vast distances, allowing knowledge to spread, resources to be shared, genetic diversity to be maintained, cultural innovations to be transmitted. The organization of early human societies was sophisticated, based on kinship, reciprocity, shared responsibility, cooperation. Everyone had roles, skills, contributions to make to the group's survival and welfare. Decisions were often made collectively, based on consensus, taking into account the knowledge and opinions of experienced individuals, especially elders who held the most accumulated wisdom. You can see your cave now, its dark opening visible among the rocks ahead. The familiar sight brings a sense of homecoming, of completion, of successful journey's end. This is the feeling that has welcomed humans home for hundreds of thousands of years. The satisfaction of returning to safety, to shelter, to the base from which daily activities are launched and to which they return. The cave represents more than shelter. It is home, community center, workshop, storage facility, sacred space, the center of human life and activity. Caves were humanity's first architecture, natural buildings that required no construction, but provided all the benefits of enclosed space, protection from weather, security from predators, a place where fire could be maintained, where community could gather. The choice of cave was crucial. It had to be in the right location, near water but not in flood zones, defensible but not isolated, with good visibility of surrounding territory, with access to resources but protection from weather. The evaluation of potential cave sites required sophisticated understanding of geology, hydrology, ecology, meteorology, all applied to the practical problem of finding safe and productive places to live. As you approach the cave entrance, you can smell the wood smoke from your morning fire, still burning steadily, still providing warmth and light, still maintaining the controlled flame that was humanity's first great technology. The scent of burning wood is one of the most welcoming aromas in human experience, triggering deep responses, memories encoded in our genes by millions of years of dependence on fire. As you approach the cave entrance, you can smell the wood smoke from your morning fire, still burning steadily, still providing warmth and light, still maintaining the controlled flame that was humanity's first great technology. The scent of burning wood is one of the most welcoming aromas in human experience, triggering deep responses, memories encoded in our genes by millions of years of dependence on fire. Fire transformed human life, extending the useful day beyond daylight hours, making previously inedible foods digestible through cooking, providing warmth that allowed humans to colonize colder climates, creating light for detailed work, providing protection from predators, creating a gathering place where community could develop, stories could be shared, knowledge could be transmitted from generation to generation. The management of fire was both art and science, requiring understanding of different wood types, proper ventilation, safe fuel storage, techniques for starting fire in various weather conditions, methods for transporting fire from place to place. Fire could not be easily created, so it had to be maintained, tended, protected, shared. This created responsibility, cooperation, forward planning, all crucial elements of human social development. You enter the cave, setting down your gathering bag near the fire, feeling the immediate relief of arriving home. The temperature inside is comfortable, moderated by the thermal mass of the stone. Cooler than the warming day outside, but not cold. Perfectly suited for the processing and preparation of the foods you've gathered. The interior of the cave is familiar, welcoming, arranged with the efficiency born of long experience. Everything has its place, its purpose, its relationship to the daily activities of life. Sleeping areas positioned for warmth and comfort. Work areas near the fire for adequate light. Storage areas protected from moisture and pests. Tool caches organized for easy access. The fire burns steadily in its carefully constructed hearth, the flames dancing over seasoned wood, creating the hypnotic light that has fascinated humans since we first learned to control flame. The fire provides more than heat and light. It provides focus, comfort, a center around which daily activities revolve, a constant presence that connects the present moment to the long history of human fire use. You add fresh wood to the fire, watching as the flames grow brighter, stronger. The wood catches quickly, dry and well prepared, selected for its burning qualities, arranged to provide optimal airflow. This is applied science, accumulated knowledge put to practical use, technology in its most fundamental form. The warmth from the fire feels good after the morning's walk, penetrating tired muscles, relaxing tension, providing the comfort that draws humans naturally toward flame. Your body turns automatically toward the heat, seeking the warmth that fire provides. This attraction to fire is deeply human, encoded in our genes by millions of years of evolution. A relationship as fundamental as any in human experience. Near the fire, you begin to sort through the plants you've gathered, separating them by type, by intended use, by processing requirements. This organization is the beginning of food preparation, the transformation of raw materials into human sustenance, one of the activities that most clearly distinguishes human behavior from that of other animals. The watercress can be eaten fresh, its crisp texture and peppery flavor perfect without cooking. You wash several stems in clean water, removing any grit or small insects, preparing them for immediate consumption. The bright green leaves are beautiful, perfect examples of nature's ability to create both nutrition and visual appeal in the same package. The wild onions require different treatment, their papery outer layers removed, their roots trimmed away. The small bulbs are perfect, concentrated flavor and nutrition stored in these compact packages. Some can be eaten raw, adding sharp, clean taste to other foods. Others will be cooked, their flavors mellowed and sweetened by heat. Cooking was one of humanity's great innovations, transforming tough, indigestible, sometimes toxic plant materials into nutritious, flavorful foods. The application of heat breaks down cell walls, makes nutrients more available, neutralizes harmful compounds, creates new flavors and textures. This control of fire for food preparation may have been crucial to the evolution of human intelligence, freeing up energy previously needed for digestion, making it available for brain development. You prepare some of the wild onions for cooking. Slicing them with a sharp stone knife, the blade is perfectly shaped, knapped from flint with skill and patience, creating an edge sharper than many modern knives. This tool represents thousands of years of technological development, the gradual refinement of stoneworking techniques, the accumulation of knowledge about different stone types, fracture patterns, edge retention, tool design. The making of stone tools required extraordinary skill. Understanding the properties of different stones, how they fracture under different conditions, the angles needed to create effective cutting edges, the techniques for shaping tools for specific purposes. This knowledge was passed from master to apprentice, refined through generations of toolmakers, creating implements that were perfectly adapted to their intended uses. The onions sizzle as they hit the flat stone positioned near the fire, heated by the flames to cooking temperature. The sound is satisfying, promising the beginning of the transformation that will make these raw materials into prepared food. The aroma that rises is sharp, appetizing, the smell of cooking that has accompanied human meals for hundreds of thousands of years. While the onions cook, you prepare some of the leafy greens you've gathered. The wild spinach and plantain leaves are tender enough to eat raw, but they can also be briefly cooked to make them more digestible, to break down some of the fibrous material, to concentrate their flavors. Cooking greens was one of the ways early humans maximized nutrition from plant foods, extracting maximum value from every resource. The mint you've gathered will be used differently, some fresh as flavoring, some dried for long-term storage, some steeped in hot water to create healing tea. The processing of medicinal plants required specific knowledge, understanding when each plant was most potent, how to preserve active compounds, how to prepare different forms for different uses. You hang some mint stems near the fire, where the warm air will dry them slowly, preserving their essential oils, maintaining their medicinal potency. This is food preservation technology, developed through thousands of years of experimentation, tested against the practical requirements of maintaining nutrition through all seasons, all weather conditions, all circumstances. The fire provides perfect conditions for drying herbs, warm but not too hot, moving air that prevents mold, protection from moisture. This natural dehydrator allowed early humans to preserve medicinal plants, extending their availability far beyond the growing season, creating stores of healing resources that could be crucial during illness, injury, and other health challenges. As you work, preparing and processing the morning's harvest, you fall into the rhythm that has characterized human food preparation for hundreds of thousands of years. The careful attention to detail, the transformation of raw materials, the application of heat and skill to create sustenance. This is one of humanity's most fundamental activities, as important now as it was at the dawn of human consciousness. The work is meditative, requiring attention, but not intense concentration, allowing the mind to wander, to process the experiences of the day, to integrate new knowledge, to plan future activities. This kind of routine work provided crucial mental space for early humans, time for reflection, for creativity, for the kind of thinking that led to innovation and cultural development. The sounds of food preparation create their own music, The sizzle of cooking, the crackle of the fire, the gentle bubbling of water heating in a stone bowl, the soft sounds of cutting, chopping, arranging. This is the kitchen symphony that has accompanied human meals since we first learned to control fire, to process food, to transform raw materials into nourishment. You taste the cooking onions, checking their progress, adjusting their position on the hot stone, monitoring the transformation that heat is creating. The flavors are developing, the sharp bite of raw onion mellowing into something sweeter, more complex, more appealing. This is alchemy, the magical transformation that cooking creates, changing not just taste and texture, but nutritional availability and safety. Some of the plants you've gathered require no cooking. The wild strawberry leaves can be eaten fresh or dried for tea. The plantain leaves can be used immediately for first aid, chewed and applied to minor cuts or scrapes. The fennel seeds are ready to use as flavoring. They're essential oils, concentrated and potent in their tiny packages. This diversity of processing requirements reflects the sophistication of early human food systems. Understanding which plants needed cooking, which were best raw, which required special preparation, which could be preserved, which had medicinal properties, which were toxic if not properly handled. This knowledge was encyclopedic, precise, essential for survival. The wild garlic bulbs you've gathered are particularly versatile. They can be eaten raw for maximum medicinal effect, cooked to mellow their flavor, dried for long-term storage, or processed into pastes and preserves. The sulfur compounds that give them their distinctive taste also provide powerful antimicrobial effects, making them valuable both as food and medicine. You prepare some garlic to add to the cooking onions, combining flavors that have been paired by humans for thousands of years. The marriage of these tastes creates something greater than the sum of its parts. Layers of flavor that make simple foods complex and satisfying. This is the beginning of cuisine, the art of combining ingredients to create not just nutrition, but pleasure. The fire burns steadily, providing consistent heat for cooking. Its flames dance hypnotically, creating the visual focus that draws human attention, that creates the gathering place around which community develops. The fire is more than tool. It is companion, constant presence, linked to the long history of human achievement and culture. As your food cooks, you tend other tasks, sharpening tools that have become dull through use, arranging your gathering areas for maximum efficiency, checking the drying herbs, maintaining the organized systems that make cave life practical and comfortable. This multitasking is natural, efficient, the kind of integrated activity that characterized early human daily life. The organization of the cave reflects thousands of years of human experience with enclosed living spaces. Everything positioned for maximum efficiency, minimum waste of motion, optimal use of available light and heat. This is architecture in its most fundamental form. The arrangement of space to support human activities, to make life safer, more comfortable, more productive. The walls of the cave hold their own treasures, natural formations that create shelves, hooks, storage spaces, surfaces suitable for tool making, for food preparation, for the countless activities that cave life required. These geological features were evaluated and utilized with the same care that later peoples would devote to designing and constructing buildings. You check the cooking onions again, stirring them with a wooden implement worn smooth by countless uses. The wood is hard, durable, shaped by patient work to fit perfectly in the human hand, to perform its function efficiently, to last through years of daily use. This is technology at its most personal level, tools shaped to fit individual users, to support specific activities, to become extensions of human capability. The onions are nearly done, their sharp edges mellowed by heat, their flavors concentrated and sweetened, their textures softened to perfect palatability. This transformation represents one of humanity's great discoveries, the ability to improve food through the application of heat, to make inedible materials nutritious, to create flavors that don't exist in nature. Some of the wild greens go into the cooking mixture, wilting quickly in the heat, their cellular structure breaking down, their nutrients becoming more available, their flavors blending with the onions and garlic to create a dish that is greater than the sum of its parts. This is cooking as art, as science, as one of the activities that most clearly distinguishes human culture. The meal you're preparing is simple but sophisticated, utilizing multiple plants gathered from different habitats, processed using various techniques, combined to create balanced nutrition and satisfying flavors. This represents the culmination of thousands of years of knowledge, accumulated through countless experiments, refined through generations of experience. As the cooking nears completion, you prepare other elements of the meal. Fresh watercress for its crisp texture and peppery bite, wild radishes for their sharp, clean flavor, mint tea steeping in hot water, creating a beverage that aids digestion and provides medicinal benefits. This is a complete meal, providing carbohydrates, proteins, vitamins, minerals, fiber, all the elements needed for human health. The fire provides perfect light for the final food preparation, bright enough for detailed work, warm enough for comfort, creating the ideal environment for the careful attention that good cooking requires. This is the workshop where raw materials are transformed into human sustenance, where nature's gifts are processed with skill and knowledge into the foods that sustain life. You arrange the finished meal on clean stones that serve as plates. The colors bright and appetizing, greens and whites, the natural palette of fresh food. The presentation is simple but appealing, reflecting the human tendency to make even basic activities more pleasant, more satisfying, more connected to our aesthetic sense. The first taste is perfect, flavors balanced and complementary, textures varied and interesting, nutrition complete and satisfying. This is food as it was meant to be, fresh from the earth, processed with skill, consumed with gratitude, connected to the landscape that provided it, to the knowledge that made it possible, to the fire that transformed it, to the human hands that gathered and prepared it. As you eat, you feel the deep satisfaction that comes from successful foraging, from skillful preparation, from the completion of one of humanity's most fundamental activities. The meal nourishes not just the body, but the spirit, connecting you to the long chain of human experience, to the wisdom of ancestors, to the abundance of the natural world. The fire burns on, providing light as the day advances, warmth as the air begins to cool, the constant presence that makes cave life comfortable and secure. Its flames dance hypnotically, creating patterns of light and shadow on the cave walls, the visual music that has entranced humans for over 1,000,000 years. Your eyelids grow heavy with the contentment of successful gathering, skillful preparation, satisfying nourishment, the rhythm of the flames, the warmth of the fire, the sense of completion that comes from transforming nature's raw gifts into sustaining food, all combined to create deep peace, profound relaxation, the quiet satisfaction that accompanies the fulfillment of life's most basic needs. The cave around you holds the warmth of the day's activities, the lingering aromas of cooking, the soft light of the fire reflecting off familiar stone walls. This is home in its most fundamental sense, shelter that provides safety, workspace that enables productivity, gathering place that creates community, sacred space that connects human life to the eternal rhythms of earth and fire. A meal you've prepared and consumed represents more than simple nutrition. It is the culmination of ancient knowledge, the application of skills developed over hundreds of thousands of years, the transformation of wild plants into human sustenance through the marriage of fire and wisdom. This is alchemy in its purest form, the magical transformation that occurs when human intelligence meets natural abundance. Outside the cave, the day continues its ancient progression, but inside, you rest in the satisfaction of work completed, needs met, the fundamental requirements of life successfully fulfilled. The fire burns steadily, its light creating a boundary between the known and unknown, between the domesticated space of the cave and the wild world beyond. Your breathing slows naturally, deepens, matching the eternal rhythm of fire and rest, of work and satisfaction, of need and provision that has sustained human life since our species first learned to gather plants, to control fire, to transform raw materials into the nourishment that makes all other activities possible. In this perfect moment of completion, you drift peacefully, contentedly, into the deep awareness that comes from being perfectly aligned with the natural world, perfectly fulfilled by the ancient arts of gathering and preparation, perfectly at peace in the warm embrace of firelight and stone. Chapter 5. Night Beneath the Stars. The sun begins its slow descent toward the western horizon, painting the sky in gentle shades of gold and rose. The day's activities are complete, your needs met through the ancient arts of gathering and preparation, your body nourished by foods collected with skill and processed with knowledge passed down through countless generations. Now comes the peaceful transition from day to night, from activity to rest, from the bright world of sunlight to the mysterious realm of stars and shadows. You step outside the cave into the cooling evening air, feeling the gentle breeze that comes with sunset, carrying new scents, different sounds, the changing energy that marks the day's end. The landscape before you is transformed by the golden light, every hill and valley painted with warm color, every plant and stone touched with the magic of approaching night. The transition from day to night was perhaps the most significant daily event for early humans, marking the boundary between activity and rest, between the visible world where work was possible and the mysterious darkness where different rules applied, where different skills were needed, where different awareness was required. This daily transformation connected human life to the cosmic cycles that govern all existence. Since then, the mystery of the cosmic cycles has become the cosmic cycles of human life. Your body knows this transition intimately, responding to subtle changes in light, temperature, atmospheric pressure, hormone levels shifting to prepare for sleep, muscle tension decreasing, breathing deepening. All the physiological changes that align human biology with the rotating Earth, with the ancient rhythm of day and night that has governed life for billions of years. The fire in the cave behind you burns steadily, its light spilling through the entrance, creating a warm beacon that will guide you home, that will maintain the controlled flame through the night, that will welcome you with warmth and light when darkness falls completely. Fire was humanity's answer to the night, extending the useful day, providing security, creating a bridge between the world of light and the realm of darkness. Before full darkness arrives, you take time to observe, to appreciate, to connect with the changing world around you. This evening awareness was crucial to early human survival, providing information about weather changes, about the activities of nocturnal animals, about the safety and security of the immediate environment, about the approach of the star-filled night that would soon envelope everything in its ancient embrace. The western sky blazes with color now, deep oranges and purples, clouds outlined in gold and crimson. This is the daily light show that early humans witnessed every clear evening, a display of natural beauty that connected them to the larger cosmos, to the movement of their planet through space, to the star that provides all energy for life on Earth. The sunset was both practical marker and spiritual experience, both timekeeper and source of wonder. You notice how the sound environment changes as night approaches. Daytime birds grow quiet, yielding the acoustic space to creatures of the night. Owls begin their haunting calls. Bats emerge for their evening hunt. Small mammals rustle through the underbrush. Night-blooming flowers release their fragrances, attracting the moths and other nocturnal pollinators that ensure their reproduction. The night shift in the natural world was as important as the day. Nocturnal animals playing crucial roles in ecosystems, pollinating plants, dispersing seeds, controlling insect populations, recycling nutrients. Early humans learned to read this nighttime world, to understand its rhythms, to find their place in the 24-hour cycle of activity that characterizes all healthy ecosystems. The temperature begins to drop as the sun's direct heating ends. But the change is gradual, comfortable. The thermal mass of stone and earth releases the day's accumulated heat slowly, moderating the temperature change, creating the gentle cooling that makes evening pleasant, that prepares the body for sleep, that marks the transition from the active heat of day to the restorative cool of night. You can see the first stars beginning to appear, tiny points of light becoming visible as the sky darkens. These are the same stars that guided early human navigation, that marked the seasons, that provided the calendar by which ancient peoples organized their lives. The night sky was humanity's first book, filled with stories, navigation aids, seasonal markers, the cosmic context that placed human life within the larger universe. Early humans were sophisticated astronomers by necessity, understanding the movements of stars and planets, the phases of the moon, the relationship between celestial events and earthly seasons. This knowledge was crucial for navigation, for timing seasonal activities, for understanding the larger patterns that governed life on Earth. The night sky was both practical tool and source of wonder, both utility and mystery. You sit on a comfortable stone outside the cave entrance, positioned to observe the darkening sky, to watch the stars emerge, to participate in the ancient human ritual of evening observation. This daily practice connected early peoples to the cosmos, to the vastness of space and time, to their place in the grand scheme of existence. It was meditation, education, spiritual practice, all combined in the simple act of watching the night sky appear. The brightest stars are visible now, familiar friends that have guided human observers for hundreds of thousands of years. The North Star, steady and reliable, always in the same position, the anchor around which the northern sky rotates. The Great Bear constellation, its distinctive pattern recognizable across cultures, its movement through the sky marking the progression of seasons, the passage of time itself. Ancient peoples developed complex knowledge about star patterns, seasonal movements, the relationship between celestial events and earthly phenomena. This astronomy was practical, immediately useful, essential for navigation across vast distances, for timing agricultural activities, for coordinating seasonal migrations, for maintaining calendars that organized social and spiritual life. The knowledge of the stars was often held by specialists, individuals who devoted their lives to studying the night sky, to memorizing star patterns, to understanding celestial cycles, to teaching this crucial knowledge to others. These ancient astronomers were among humanity's first scientists, careful observers who accumulated precise knowledge through patient study, systematic observation, accurate memory. A gentle breeze stirs the evening air, carrying the sense of cooling earth, of night-blooming plants, of the complex chemical communications that plants and animals use to coordinate their activities. Your nose, refined through millions of years of evolution, processes these scents automatically, gathering information about the changing environment, about weather patterns, about the activities of other living things. The acoustic environment continues to transform. Owls call to each other across the landscape, their voices carrying messages about territory, about mating, about the complex social lives that many people don't realize birds possess. Bats flicker overhead, their echolocation calls inaudible to human ears, but crucial to their navigation and hunting. The rustling of small animals creates a constant background whisper, the sound of life continuing its essential activities under cover of darkness. Night sounds provided crucial information to early humans. Changes in animal behavior often signaled approaching weather, the presence of predators, other environmental conditions that could affect human safety and comfort. Learning to interpret these sounds, to distinguish normal from abnormal patterns, to recognize warning signals, was essential for survival in a world where darkness brought both beauty and danger. The moon begins to rise, its pale light adding another dimension to the night. When full, the moon provided enough light for travel, for nighttime activities, for extending the useful day. Moon phases were among the most important timekeeping devices for early humans, marking months, coordinating group activities, providing a calendar that was visible to everyone, every clear night. Moonlight transforms the landscape, creating a silver world quite different from the golden realm of sunlight. Shadows become deeper, more mysterious. Familiar places take on different characters. The human eye, adapted for daylight vision, struggles with the low light levels, but gradually adjusts, revealing the beauty and wonder of the nighttime world. Early humans developed keen night vision through necessity, learning to use moonlight and starlight for navigation, for safety, for the activities that sometimes had to continue after dark. The rod cells in human eyes, specialized for low-light vision, can detect amazingly faint light sources, allowing humans to function in conditions that would be impossible for many other animals. You notice how your own vision adapts to the growing darkness. Details that were clear in sunlight fade away, but other features become more apparent. The glow of the fire through the cave entrance, the silver reflection of water in the distance, the pale outlines of paths and familiar landmarks. This is night vision, a different way of seeing that reveals different aspects of the familiar world. The fire in the cave provides a reassuring anchor. Its warm light spilling out into the darkness, creating a pool of illumination that defines home, safety, the human place in the vast night landscape. Fire was humanity's first conquest of darkness, the technology that allowed us to remain active after sunset, to gather together for social activities, to extend the useful day beyond the limitations of natural light. The controlled use of fire for illumination was revolutionary. It allowed detailed work to continue after dark, enabled storytelling and social activities that built community, provided security against nocturnal predators, created the first artificial environments where humans could control light, temperature, safety. This mastery of fire may have been crucial to the development of human culture, language, complex social organization. A shooting star streaks across the sky, a brief but brilliant reminder of the dynamic nature of the cosmos, of the constant movement and change that characterizes the universe. Ancient peoples often interpreted meteors as messages, as omens, as connections between earthly events and cosmic forces. These interpretations reflected the human need to find meaning in natural phenomena, to understand our place in the larger scheme of existence. The night sky was full of stories for early humans. Constellations were characters in elaborate mythologies. Star movements marked important events. Celestial phenomena were incorporated into religious and cultural practices. The sky was a book written in light, telling stories that connected human life to cosmic events, providing narrative structure for understanding the universe and humanity's place within it. More stars become visible as full darkness approaches. Thousands of points of light that were invisible during the day. The Milky Way begins to show itself, that river of stars that flows across the night sky, reminding observers that our solar system is part of something vast, ancient, incomprehensibly large. This daily revelation of cosmic scale was available to early humans every clear night, connecting them directly to the universe in ways that modern light pollution often prevents. The silence of night is different from the quiet of day, deeper, more complete, broken by specific sounds that stand out clearly in the still air. The call of a nightjar, the rustle of nocturnal creatures, the distant sound of flowing water. Each sound carries clearly, providing precise information about its source, its distance, its significance. This acoustic clarity was crucial for early humans who needed to distinguish between safe sounds and potential dangers. Night also brought different smells, the release of fragrances from night-blooming plants, the scent of cooling earth, the dampness of dew beginning to form, the complex chemical messages that many animals use for communication after dark. Your ancestors learned to read these scents, to understand what they revealed about environmental conditions, about the presence of other animals, about weather changes that might be approaching. The cave behind you represents security in this vast night landscape. Its warm interior lit by fire, its stone walls providing protection, its familiar arrangements creating comfort and safety. Caves were humanity's first architecture, natural shelters that required no construction but provided all the benefits of enclosed space: protection from weather, security from predators, a controllable environment where human life could flourish. You rise and move closer to the cave entrance, where the firelight is brighter, where the warmth is more immediate. The transition from the cool night air to the warm cave interior is comforting, welcoming, the daily return to safety and security that has characterized human evening routines for hundreds of thousands of years. This movement from open space to enclosed shelter, from darkness to light, from coolness to warmth, represents one of humanity's most fundamental behaviors. Inside the cave, the fire burns steadily, its flames creating dancing patterns of light and shadow on the walls. This hypnotic display has fascinated humans since we first learned to control flame. The patterns seem almost alive, constantly changing, creating the visual music that draws human attention, that provides the focus for evening relaxation, for the gradual transition from wakefulness to sleep. The warmth from the fire penetrates gradually, relaxing muscles that have worked through the day, easing tensions that have accumulated from the activities of gathering, walking, food preparation, all the tasks that daily survival required. This warming and relaxing is part of the body's natural preparation for sleep, the physiological changes that align human biology with the rhythm of day and night. You arrange your sleeping area near the fire, but not so close as to be uncomfortable. The placement reflects ancient wisdom about sleeping positions: far enough from the flames to avoid danger, close enough to benefit from warmth, positioned to take advantage of reflected heat from stone walls, oriented to catch the morning light that will gently wake you at dawn. The sleeping arrangements in caves were sophisticated, based on knowledge accumulated over thousands of years, understanding airflow patterns, heat distribution, safety considerations, optimal positions for different weather conditions. This knowledge was crucial for comfort, for health, for the quality of rest that determined how well people could function during the demanding days that survival required. Your bed consists of carefully prepared materials: soft grasses gathered from meadows, animal hides cleaned and softened, natural insulation that provides comfort and warmth. These materials were selected for their properties, their durability, their ability to provide the comfort needed for restorative sleep. Creating comfortable sleeping arrangements was essential for health, for energy, for the physical recovery that each day's activities required. As you prepare for sleep, you follow routines that connect you to countless generations of human ancestors, banking the fire to provide warmth through the night without the danger of uncontrolled flames, arranging tools and resources for easy access, checking that water and food are available, ensuring that the cave is secure. These preparations reflect the wisdom of people who understood that good sleep required careful attention to safety and comfort. The fire settles into its nighttime rhythm, flames lower but steady, providing gentle heat, soft light, the constant presence that makes cave life secure and comfortable. The wood you've selected for overnight burning is chosen for its properties: hardwood that burns slowly and steadily, providing consistent heat without requiring constant attention. This is fire management at its most sophisticated level. Outside, the night world continues its ancient activities: nocturnal hunters pursuing their prey, night-blooming plants releasing their fragrances, insects following their own complex behaviors, the vast web of nighttime life continuing the eternal cycles that maintain ecological balance. This nighttime activity was as important as daytime processes, contributing to the health and productivity of the ecosystems that supported human life. The sounds from outside create a natural lullaby: the gentle whisper of wind through vegetation, the distant call of night birds, the soft rustle of small animals, water flowing over stones. All of these sounds speak of a world that is alive, active, continuing its essential functions while humans rest. This knowledge of ongoing life was comforting to early peoples, assurance that the natural world continued its supportive activities even during human sleep. You lie down on your prepared sleeping area, feeling the softness of the natural materials, the warmth of the fire on your face, the solid security of stone walls around you. Your body naturally relaxes, releasing the tensions of the day, beginning the physiological changes that prepare for sleep. This relaxation is both physical and mental, letting go of the day's activities, thoughts, concerns, allowing consciousness to prepare for its daily journey into the realm of dreams. The light from the fire creates gentle patterns on the cave ceiling, constantly changing shadows that seem to tell stories, to create images, to provide the natural entertainment that helped early humans relax into sleep. These patterns were the world's first moving pictures, natural cinema created by firelight and stone, providing the visual focus that helped quiet active minds, that eased the transition from wakefulness to dreams. Your breathing deepens naturally, matching the eternal rhythm of rest and activity, of consciousness and sleep, that has governed human life since our species first evolved. This deepening breath brings more oxygen to your blood, helps relax your nervous system, begins the cascade of physiological changes that create the conditions for restorative sleep. The warmth from the fire surrounds you like a gentle embrace, penetrating your muscles, your bones, creating the comfort that makes deep sleep possible. This is the same warmth that has comforted humans for over 1,000,000 years, the gift of controlled fire that extended human capability, that created the conditions for culture, language, art, all the achievements that distinguish human civilization. Outside, the stars continue their ancient dance across the sky, following the paths that have guided human navigation for hundreds of thousands of years, marking time, marking seasons, providing the cosmic context that placed human life within the vast universe. These same stars that shine on you now have witnessed the entire history of human development, from our first use of tools, to our conquest of fire, to our spread across the globe. The night sky connects you to all of human history, to the ancestors who looked up at these same stars, who found guidance and wonder in their patterns, who developed the astronomical knowledge that allowed human civilization to flourish. This connection across time and space is one of the most profound experiences available to human consciousness. The awareness of being part of something vast, ancient, ongoing. Your eyelids grow heavy now as the day's activities fade into memory, as the comfort of fire and shelter work their ancient magic, as your body and mind prepare for the journey into sleep that will restore your energy, heal your tissues, process your experiences, prepare you for another day of life in harmony with the natural world. The fire burns on, its light creating a boundary between the known and unknown, between the familiar space of the cave and the mystery of the night beyond. This controlled flame will maintain its watch through the hours of darkness, providing warmth, security, the constant presence that makes human rest possible in a world where night brought both beauty and challenge. The sounds of night continue their gentle symphony, owls calling across the darkness, wind whispering through vegetation, water flowing over stone. The acoustic environment that has accompanied human sleep for hundreds of thousands of years. These sounds speak of a world that is alive, ongoing, maintaining the cycles and processes that support all life, including human life. Your breathing slows, deepens, falls into the rhythm that carries you towards sleep, toward dreams, toward the daily death and rebirth that sleep represents. This journey into unconsciousness is as natural as breathing, as necessary as food and water, as ancient as human existence itself. It is the daily return to the mystery, the surrender to processes larger than individual control, the trust in the fundamental rhythms that govern all life. The cave around you holds the accumulated warmth of the day, the lingering sense of cooking, the familiar textures and surfaces that create home, security, belonging. This is shelter in its most fundamental form, protection that allows vulnerability, safety that enables rest, the architectural embrace that has made human civilization possible. Fire. Shelter, the rhythm of day and night, the cycle of activity and rest, work and restoration. These are the fundamental patterns that have sustained human life since our species first learned to think, to plan, to create, to dream. In this perfect moment of transition, surrounded by the ancient comforts of fire and stone, you surrender to the eternal rhythm, drift peacefully into the restorative embrace of sleep, into the mysterious realm where consciousness renews itself, where the day's experiences are processed and integrated, where the mind and body prepare for another day of life in the endless dance between human intelligence and natural abundance. The fire hums softly in the darkness, its light painting gentle patterns on the cave walls, its warmth surrounding you like the embrace of countless generations. And you drift, naturally, peacefully, contentedly, into the deep, restful sleep that has restored human consciousness for hundreds of thousands of years, into the ancient rhythm of rest and renewal, into the eternal cycle that connects your brief individual life to the vast, ongoing story of human existence on this beautiful, abundant, ever-changing earth. In the warm embrace of fire and stone, surrounded by the gentle sounds of night, blessed by the ancient wisdom of shelter and flame, you sleep and dream and rest and restore, becoming part of the eternal rhythm, the endless cycle, the beautiful dance of consciousness and sleep, of day and night, of activity and rest that has sustained human life since the very beginning of time, drifting deeper, ever deeper, into the peaceful, restorative peace, healing embrace of ancient sleep, ancient dreams, ancient rest beneath the eternal stars. The end.